Hello, it's Blue Orange 22. Yes, my hair is wet. I just had a shower. But I want to share my views as a men's rights activist on the Kyle Rittenhouse story. And yeah, that's a little bit of a clickbait, but I do promise I will tie this into men's rights in this video. But I know a lot of people are talking about it. I've gotten a bunch of emails about it, to react to it. And everyone's debating, is it self-defense? Whose fault is it? What should happen? So I'm going to give you my honest views on this because I'm someone who considers myself fairly moderate. I'm not overly left. I'm not overly right. I have both voted for and worked for political and democratic campaigns in the past. So, and I also think of myself as someone who's fairly good at reading through news stories and articles and reading between the lines. And I read a lot of the court documents and a lot of the facts about the case and police documents and eyewitness reports and all that kind of stuff. Here's what I honestly think. I think Kyle Rittenhouse probably was defending himself. I think he was physically assaulted, and I think it was an act of self-defense. But at the same time, I think it's really stupid to strap yourself up with a gun and go to a political rally where you know emotions are going to be high, and it's going to be hot, and people are going to be feeling hot and then heavy, and walk around with a big gun strapped to you. What kind of energy are you inviting? The fact of the matter is, Kyle put himself into a situation he didn't have to put himself into, and he got a consequence for it. Because here's the thing, okay? Trouble is very easy to find. Okay? Trouble doesn't like to hide. If you want to find trouble, trouble will come out and give you a high five. Trouble is always there to be found, and when you put yourself in negative situations and when you look for trouble, you will find it. You will find it. Okay? You all know the story of me getting stabbed by that crazy woman in LA. Was it her fault? Yes, it was. Was I defending myself? Well, I was trying to walk away. I mean, yes, I was. But the fact of the matter is, I chose to go outside at 2 in the morning when there was bad stuff going on in the area. I was putting myself in a negative situation. I could have just stayed inside. I could have just put some earplugs in and stayed inside. If you don't know the story, it was July 3rd. People were setting fireworks off next to my apartment, and I went outside, asked them to stop, and this whole kind of thing happened. And this woman wasn't involved in that group at all. She just came out of nowhere, went crazy. The point is, I put myself needlessly in a negative situation, right? In a way, I was looking for trouble. I could have stayed inside, and I've been in some situations in the past, but the person who came closest to killing me was a 5'1" woman. Because here's the thing, she had a knife. And the thing you have to understand about the situation like Kyle, when you go to a political march with a gun in your hand, you think, oh, I'm holding a big gun. No one's going to mess with me. Here's the thing. There are some genuinely crazy people out there. There are some people who are completely nuts. They will go up to you if you're bigger than them or a group of people or you have a gun in your hand. They'll attack you anyway. There are some people who are straight up nutso. They don't care. Okay, I've seen a guy in LA get the crap kicked out of him because he went up to 5 dudes and started getting in their face. So they beat the hell out of him. Any rational person would know that's not a fight you want to pick. You're going to lose that fight. But there are people who are not rational. And Kyle met 2 people who were not rational. 2 people see a guy holding an AR-15. Okay, if I see a guy on the street holding an assault rifle, like a military-style gun, my first thought is not going to be, oh, I'm going to go attack that person, right? Like 99% of people wouldn't do that because it's not rational. But there are crazy people out there who don't care how big you are, who don't care if you have a gun, who don't care if you're armed, and they'll get themselves killed, like the 2 people Kyle killed, or put themselves in a coma or in jail. I mean, there are some people who are straight up crazy. There are people who cannot help themselves. There are people who commit violent crimes, go to prison, get released, and their first week on the street, they get into another fight and they go right back to prison. And then when they're in prison, they get into a fight and they go to solitary. And they get out of solitary, and guess what they do? They get into another fight. Those people are out there. And when you're going to something like a Black Lives Matter political rally, you know there's going to be like a lot of energy there. Emotions are building up. People are feeling a certain way, okay? And a lot of people, the vast majority of people, are probably there with good intentions, okay? 99% of people are probably there with good intentions. But there's always that 1%. And if you show up with a gun in your hands, you're going to attract negative energy. So it's stupid. Why did he feel the need to get a gun, get into his car, drive 70, 80 miles, whatever it was, to a city he doesn't even live in, to defend businesses that have nothing to do with his town? I understand defending your local. Like, I stood outside a local business in Los Angeles last June, I think it was, during the riots. And this was not connecting to the stabbing story. And I actually physically fought looters who were trying to break into the store. And I'm not saying it's a brag, because let me tell you what that's actually like. It really sucks. It's really scary. We had guns pointed at us. Or at least, I'm not sure they pointed, but we people like flex guns at us. There were like 20 of us in the neighborhood. We were standing in front of our local market, and we were like pushing back, fighting off looters. It was really scary. It wasn't cool. It's not like the movies. It's not fun. And even now, thinking back, I understand why I made that choice, because that market was like, we weren't sure how many places nearby were going to be left selling food. So we had to defend that market. I would have so much rather have been inside watching TV, watching YouTube. Okay, I've been in rough situations. I've like actually been in physically violent situations. It's not like the movies. It's not like TV. It's not cool, and it's not fun. Believe me. So when you go out and you look for trouble, you look for violence, it's not difficult to find. And Kyle made a decision that is now putting him in the possibility of life in prison. I don't know if he's going to get sentenced to jail or not. And the two guys that attacked him are now dead. So of those three people, who made the smart decision there? You know, nobody. So Jocko is a Navy SEAL YouTuber. This is a guy who is almost certainly killed other armed men. This is someone who is an expert in firearms, an expert in combat, and an expert in martial arts. You know what he says the best move in a fight is? Walking away. Or running away, if you have to. And I'll actually give feminists this point. Toxic masculinity, there's that part of the male ego. You don't want to be seen as a bitch or a pussy. I mean, I get it. That's true. I mean, men do feel that way. And there are times, I will say, there are times where you do have to stand up for yourself. There are times where you do have to kind of stand your grounds. Otherwise, people will walk all over you. But what you don't need to do is go out of your way, okay, to engage yourself in a situation that has nothing to do with you. Defending yourself, if someone is coming at you, is one thing. But Kyle was defending himself from two people coming at him, but was he doing it in his own home? Or was he doing it in a place that he chose to drive to, an over an hour drive, with a gun in his hand? Just think, what energy was he attracting? Think about your choices. Think about A, dying, B, going to jail. Whenever you're making a choice like that, and then just think, if I don't make this choice, tomorrow, what are the consequences? 99% of the time, okay, if it's a situation like that, the consequences of doing nothing is nothing. So that's my thoughts on that, and think about it.